The prestigious Café Coffee Day, nestled in the heart of our city, wasn't just a place to grab a cup of coffee. It was an institution. The elegant decor, plush seating, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee beans wafting through the air made it a haven for both coffee aficionados and casual patrons. I, too, was drawn to its charm, but little did I know that beneath the polished exterior lurked a sinister secret that would change my life forever. I had joined the cafe as a part-time server, eager to earn a few extra bucks while I pursued my studies. It was the perfect gig. The tips were decent, and the hours were flexible. But, as I would soon discover, the Café Coffee Day held a dark and treacherous secret. My first encounter with this chilling reality happened on a gloomy evening when the rain was pelting down in torrents. It was unusually quiet that night, with only a few patrons huddled in corners, sipping their coffee and lost in their thoughts. I was taking orders, weaving my way between the tables, when I noticed an elderly man sitting alone near the window. His appearance was striking. He had a long, unkempt beard, and his eyes bore a look of profound sorrow. He was sipping his coffee with an air of melancholy, as though he was nursing a deep, hidden pain. I approached his table, my shoes squeaking slightly on the polished floor. "Can I get you anything else, sir?" I asked, trying to sound as cheerful as possible. He looked up, his eyes locking onto mine with a piercing intensity. "You serve a special brew here, don't you?" he inquired in a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "Yes, sir," I stammered. "Our special blend is quite popular."
He leaned closer, and the smell of his damp overcoat mixed with the coffee hit me like a wave.
"I've heard it's not just the beans that make it special," he whispered, his lips curling into a sinister smile. I was taken aback. "I'm not sure what you mean, sir." He chuckled softly, but there was nothing humorous about it. "You will find out soon enough," he said cryptically, before sliding a crumpled bill onto the table and vanishing into the rainy night. Shaken, I returned to the counter, my mind buzzing with 1,000 questions. What did that man mean? What was so special about our coffee? But before I could dwell on it further, my manager, Mr. Patel, appeared. He was a rotund man with a perpetual frown etched on his face. "Clean up table 5, he grumbled, handing me a rag. "And make it quick. We're closing early tonight." I nodded and set to work, wiping the table and gathering the empty cup and saucer. As I bent down to pick up a discarded napkin, I noticed something strange. On the saucer, in place of the usual coffee stain, there was a peculiar symbol etched into the porcelain. It was a circle with intricate patterns and symbols, like something out of an ancient grimoire. Curiosity gnawed at me, but I had no time to investigate further. We closed up the cafe, and I pushed the encounter to the back of my mind. Little did I know that it was only the beginning of a series of strange and unsettling events. As weeks passed, I couldn't help but notice more peculiar occurrences. Patrons would come and go, but some left behind more than just empty cups. Strange symbols, cryptic notes, and even small black feathers would appear on tables and in corners of the cafe. It was as if the very walls of Café Coffee Day were whispering secrets to those who cared to listen. One evening, as I was clearing a table, a small, leather-bound book fell from the pocket of a man's jacket. He was engrossed in a conversation with his companion and didn't seem to notice. I quickly picked up the book, intending to return it to its owner. But when I opened it, I was met with a horrifying sight. The pages were filled with grotesque drawings and cryptic incantations. It was a book of black magic, a sinister grimoire. My heart raced as I realized that the man who had dropped it was long gone. I hid the book under my apron, not knowing what else to do, and went to the back room to examine it further. As I leafed through the pages, I felt a growing sense of dread. The book seemed to describe rituals and spells, some of which were meant to summon dark forces and bind them to the caster's will. It was clear that whoever owned this book was involved in something deeply sinister, and it was somehow connected to our café. I couldn't keep this discovery to myself. I confided in a fellow employee, Sarah, who had been working at Café Coffee Day for years. Her face turned pale as she examined the book. "I've heard rumors about this place," she whispered, her voice trembling. "They say that long ago, a coven of witches used to meet here in secret. They brewed a special blend of coffee infused with dark magic, and anyone who drank it became entangled in their sinister schemes." I shivered at the thought. But why would they still be doing this? And who are they? Sarah shrugged. "I don't know, but we need to find out. This cafe has a dark history, and we can't let it continue." We decided to dig deeper, to uncover the truth about the dark secrets that Café Coffee Day held. We started by discreetly questioning our co-workers, who had also noticed the strange occurrences. Some had seen shadowy figures lurking in corners, and others had heard eerie whispers in the middle of the night when the cafe was closed. One night, as Sarah and I were closing up, we decided to explore the cafe's basement, a place that had always given us an uneasy feeling. It was dimly lit, and the air was heavy with a damp, earthy smell. As we descended the creaky wooden stairs, the temperature seemed to drop, and I could see my breath in the air. In the dim light, we discovered a hidden chamber, its walls adorned with strange symbols and candles that had long burned out. In the center of the room, there was an ornate coffee grinder, unlike any I had ever seen. It was covered in dust, but when I touched it, it felt warm to the touch. "This must be it," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "This is where they brewed that cursed coffee." As we continued to investigate, we found a hidden compartment beneath the grinder. Inside, there were vials of strange liquids, herbs, and more of those black feathers. It was clear that this was the heart of the dark magic that had plagued our cafe for so long. But before we could make sense of it all, we heard footsteps approaching the basement. Panic set in as we realized that someone else was down there with us. We extinguished our flashlights and huddled in the darkness, our hearts pounding. The footsteps drew closer, and then we heard a voice, cold and menacing. "You shouldn't have come here," it whispered. A figure emerged from the shadows, a man in a long black coat with a hood that concealed his face. He raised his hand, and in the faint light, we saw that it was adorned with rings adorned with strange symbols. Sarah and I were frozen with fear as he approached. "You've uncovered things that you shouldn't have," he said, his voice dripping with malevolence. "But don't worry, we have plans for you." With a wave of his hand, he chanted incantations that sent shivers down our spines. Suddenly, the very walls of the basement seemed to come alive, shifting and contorting as if they were made of liquid. We were trapped in a nightmarish labyrinth, the walls closing in on us. Desperation took hold and we ran, blindly following the twisting passages. The air grew colder, and the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. It was as if the very essence of the caf had turned against us. Hours passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time seemed to lose all meaning in that dreadful place. Just when we thought we were lost forever, we stumbled upon a hidden door that led us back to the basement. Gasping for breath, we slammed the door shut behind us. But our relief was short-lived. The man in the black coat was waiting for us, his eyes burning with an unholy fire. "You can't escape," he hissed, his voice echoing in the confined space. "You're part of this now." With a flick of his wrist, he summoned dark shadows that closed in on us, threatening to suffocate us. In that moment of despair, I remembered the leather-bound book of black magic that I'd hidden under my apron. I reached for it and began reciting the incantations I had seen. The words flowed from my lips, and a surge of power coursed through me. The shadows recoiled, as if repelled by an invisible force. It was a gamble, but it was our only chance. The man in the black coat screamed in agony as the shadows turned on him, dragging him into their depths. The basement shook with a violent tremor, and then, with an ear-splitting roar, it collapsed in on itself, sealing off the horrors that lay within. Sarah and I stumbled out of the caf, shaken and traumatized by the ordeal. We never returned to Café Coffee Day, and we never spoke of what had happened. The caf closed its doors soon after, its sinister secrets buried beneath the rubble. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that the darkness that once dwelled in that place still lingers, waiting for its next victim. And I can't help but wonder if the man in the black coat was truly vanquished, or if he merely bides his time, plotting his return. The memory of that fateful night still haunts my dreams, a reminder that some secrets are best left buried, even if they are hidden in plain sight.